Hi guys, it's Andy from Man City Fan TV. I'm here via a live Skype chat with Ray. Ray, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. For the 2 hours sleep I got last night before I drove back, but I'm sound. I'm ready to do battle.
Good. Well, what we're going to talk about is obviously last night's game, and we're going to break it down in various sections. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the stadium, we're going to talk about the lineup, we're going to talk about the match and some of the talking points itself. We're going to talk about some of the fans that you interviewed outside the stadium afterwards and their thoughts, and in particular with today, there's been only a few sort of minor meltdowns on Twitter by some absolute lunatics. So we're going to talk about that, and then we'll sort of give a brief overview of what's coming up on Man City Fan TV over the next coming days. So first thoughts were, I saw some of the videos that you did with Nick Sports and some of the videos we put out on the channel last night, but what were your initial thoughts? I know you did some stuff outside the ground, but what were your thoughts about the stadium?
Well, inside the ground, it's a very, how can I say, integrated stadium. There was a car park, there's a Sainsbury's there, there's an Argos as well. So there's a little bit of a few shops there and some parking right next to the stadium. I mean, we're talking literally 3 minutes from the away, and you can go and do some shopping. A nice big Sainsbury's. That, it's nice to have that facility. It's even closer than the Asda is at the Etihad. And inside the stadium, I mean, you got on the outside, you got lifts, high security. I mean, I think the tickets were checked 3 times. They've got these scanners as well, like airport scanners. So you have to take your phone out. They didn't check my bottle, half drunk plastic bottle of water, which I was surprised. There's no patting down. You just walk through the scanners. That's what they were really concerned about. That's just something to note. It's a bit different. The stadium itself, yeah, I mean, inside it looked absolutely fantastic, the concourse and everything else. I spent a bit of time there listening to the City fans, but I wanted to get out to the seats, the seating area, to see the stadium and the pitch and everything else. So I spent a bit of time out there having a look. And yeah, I mean, we said it before, it's a majestic, magnificent stadium. It should be for about £1 billion. You should be getting the best of the best. Spurs fans tell me it's the best stadium in the world and it's better than the Etihad. Well, it should be. I mean, you've got to go back to the Etihad. That's almost 20 years old. And every time a new stadium comes along, it incorporates in a lot of new features. So it should be looking brilliant. And it was. And when, just before the game, when they had the message in the crowd in the 17,500 home fans, that it looked like a cave, a cavern that never ended. It just kept going back and back and back, wide and wide. It's like the mouth of a big whale or something. It was huge, 17,500 people, and when they put their motto up there, I mean, it did look good. The noise inside was tremendous. And I believe they've spent a lot of time, effort, and resources in terms of money on the acoustics to make sure that the noise resonates around the ground. So in every way, it looked fantastic. As I said, the noise, the lighting, 4 huge screens. There's no way you're going to miss any action with 4 huge screens. And it's state of the art. It's 21st century. It's 2018, 2019 stadium. It is splendid. And other new stadiums will have. It's a good yardstick. That's what they're going to compete against. So it will be interesting to see what Everton's new stadium is like, and anybody else who builds a massive stadium like this. It'll be interesting to see what it's like. Chatting to the fans as well. I mean, they said they are paying an arm and a leg. The last stadium was 36,000. This is up to 62. I think it's about 60 for the football and 62 for NFL, something like that. And they'll probably double their gate receipts. So, they could probably get an extra 25 million quid a year, 30 million quid a year from this. So it's going to be a game changer for them. But yeah, as I said before, it's a wonderful stadium. A little bit out of context for the area that it's in. And most of the fans come from well outside the local area. Yeah. You could see that 3.5 hours before kickoff, fans were turning up on the trains, hundreds of them, hundreds of fans turning up, chatting to fans who had come in and driven in or come on the trains, going up. Not a lot of fans were going north, so they're going away from London. They're going to Enfield, into Hertfordshire. So, I mean, I said it on, I think on Saturday, one of the videos I did. It'd be interesting to see how many local fans go, because it should reflect the local community as well. And personally, I'm not sure it does. But maybe I'm not doing them a disservice. It'd be interesting to know what plans they're putting in place to get local members of the local community into that ground. But it's fantastic.
Looked amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching it on TV, and it looked absolutely amazing. But anyway, check out the videos we put out yesterday, because there was a load of the City fans, fan chants and everything before the game. But moving on, and the team was announced.
Yeah.
The team was Edison, Walker, Otamendi, Laporte, Delph came in, Fernandinho, Gundogan, David Silva. Then we had Mahrez on the right, Sterling on the left, and Aguero. What were your thoughts, very briefly? What were your thoughts just on that when the team was announced?
I was initially I was shocked, because I thought if obviously Zinchenko's out, if Mendy was out, I'd have expected Danilo to play, and he wasn't there. And then I thought if Danilo's not available, I'd expect Laporte to go left back and have a centre-back pairing of something like Stones and Otamendi, or Company and Otamendi, or whatever, and put Laporte out left back. I didn't expect Gundogan and Fernandinho to play. I say Fernandinho's a proper defensive midfielder. Gundogan's a half and half. So in effect, we'd set up even more defensively. I mean, if you've got someone like, I think Danilo or Zinchenko at left back, they offer a lot more going forward than Delph. And then up front, we had Mahrez. Now, looking at it objectively, forget all the criticisms people have made of him in the past. I felt Mahrez, Gundogan, and Delph constituted a very negative setup, a very defensive setup, because Mahrez is generally tries step overs and pass the ball back. If Leroy Sané is there, Leroy Sané will take risks, big risks. And if they come off, you can score a goal or two. If it doesn't come off, Leroy might not track back. So I felt Mahrez might play just for that reason, to make it more solid and a more defensive unit. And I think Pep just sets up to not let them score, to walk away with a 0-0, nick a 1-0, and just not to lose that game. You can say whatever you like. My opinion was that was a wrong setup. We needed a bit more of an attacking threat. Having Gundogan, we've said it many times, when he's given space and time, he's a world beater. And when he's not, he's average. He hasn't got the legs. Neither has Fernandinho. Fernandinho's 34 years old now. Hasn't got the legs. David Silva, you're the midfield maestro. He's what, 33? So you've got a 33-year-old, a 34-year-old. No matter how fit they are, they've not got the, I would suspect, the stamina and the pace to get around that pitch the way we needed them to. So I'll be honest, I was concerned, and I'd before the game, before that team news was announced, I'd have been happy with a 1-1. When it was announced, I'd have been happy with a 0-0.
Yeah, it was. I've said it on videos. I said it on the excuse me. I said it on the live vlog that we did straight after the game, that I've said it all season, and I've said it on 8, 9, 10 occasions. Yeah. Whenever we play Fernandinho, David Silva, and Gundogan in midfield, we have never ever played well. Go back and look at the games. Yeah. We have never played well when those three players have played in that midfield. And when it came out, I was thinking, oh, here we go again against a young, physical, sort of, energetic Spurs team. And so I was worried right from the start. Yeah. But we shouldn't have been, because 10 minutes in, VAR came to rescue, and it's garbage. It's absolutely nonsense. It's the rules that are wrong, but we got the penalty.
Yeah, we didn't know what was going on. Really, we had no idea what the handball was coming from. But
and it came across from the TV. Literally, when you watched it, suddenly it was like, oh, it's about the Danny Rose handball, and we're thinking, handball? Was it handball? Because at first on TV, you couldn't tell it was a handball, but they replayed it, and then as soon as they said it went to VAR, we were thinking that's going to be a penalty, because the way it's set up in under UEFA rules is that if there's any unnatural movement away from the body in Europe, they give it you. In the Premier League, it would never have been.
Apparently the rules are slightly different in the Premier League.
No, they are different. They're completely different. So unless there's a natural in the Premier League, you have to obviously put your arm for it to be a penalty. In the UEFA, you can turn your back, you can put your elbow out, you can do whatever else. If the ball hits your hand, it's a penalty.
You should be taking more shots,
which is crap. It is crap.
Those are the rules.
I said afterwards, justice was done because it, as much as it was the rules, justice was done because, sadly for us, Sergio, that was a terrible penalty.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm just thinking, did Sergio miss it or give an easy save on purpose because it shouldn't have been a penalty?
I doubt it. I very much doubt it.
The way his body was positioned. The thing is, if you're going to hit it at that height,
power.
Okay, has to have power and it has to be more precise. Yeah. It wasn't precise enough. It has to be into the side netting. It can't be where he'd hit it. And when I called it. Behind, it was on the far end of the pitch, and the way Aguero was set up, I thought he's going to fool him with his eyes and hit it to the goalie's right, which is what I thought he should have done. Yeah, I just watched it half an hour ago on the replay. His left foot slipped a little bit as he took it.
It did.
But I'm sorry, as I said, if you're not going to try and fool the keeper, you've got to be exceptionally precise, and you can't hit, do whatever you want, hit it in the air, but that height was too easy for Lloris to save, and it wasn't a difficult save. As long as he went the right way, it was a straightforward save to make. I was actually talking to
Sorry, you just paused a minute there, Ray. You just paused a minute there.
All right, I'll go again. I said to the fella next to me, please, Aguero, do not do a Panenka. Please don't do it. And after after it was saved, I thought, why didn't you do a Panenka? But yeah, it was a poor penalty, half decent save. But let's be honest, you or I diving the right way would have had a decent chance of saving that. Yeah. So it was disappointing. It is what it is. They would have taken some heart from that. They were G'd up from that. But we carried on in the kind of same fashion where we were just looking to, I won't say grind out a draw, but Spurs, they never really pressed us. They let our defenders pass it around at the back. It felt as if they were waiting for a mistake from our defenders, because if you're passing the ball 100 times, to each other, you might get it right 98 times and get it wrong twice. So I think they were waiting for it, and they never give us space in the middle of the park for people like David Silva, Gundogan to really operate. They were very happy letting Otamendi and Laporte have the ball, and Walker and Delph.
But moving on, we got to 0-0 half time, and it wasn't great. It was very much, when I was watching it, and I've said it time and time again, Fernandinho and Gundogan, when they play together, they seem to take the same space. And it's like, I'm here, all right, I'll move over here. And it's like David Silva's like wandering around trying to find any bit of space he can, because they all seem to play in like this diamond of 10, 15 yards of each other, and there's just nothing whatsoever. So to get to 0-0 at half time after we missed a penalty, thinking, well, yeah, that's great. And we weren't brilliant. We weren't creating a great deal.
But we weren't letting them create too much.
No, I mean, they weren't. And, you know, I'm just talking about City here.
Yeah.
Because they weren't doing anything fantastic.
They had a lot more of the ball, I think, in the last 20 minutes of the first half. They were a bit more adventurous.
It was almost like the game plan was an unusual game plan for Pep. It was almost like, we'll be solid in midfield. We'll do this. We'll do that. Well, if they want the ball, they can have it, and like teams normally do against us. But we got to 0-0, thinking, okay, we'll move on to the second half. I'm sure we'll see Sane and KDB introduced at some point. Nothing, and then on 55 minutes, there was that tackle by Kane on Delph. Which I think Kane was getting a bit frustrated, not having much of the ball, went in on Delph.
Bit late.
And to be fair to Delph, he didn't do anything wrong. And Kane's ankle, you could see, went straight over before he even got to Delph. And then there was words exchanged between Pochettino and Delph was basically saying, I didn't do anything wrong.
You could look at you could see by the look on Pochettino's face, he knew what it was. He knew it was serious. The way Kane hopped off immediately.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't put any pressure on his foot whatsoever, went straight down the tunnel. But I think Pochettino actually went down the tunnel, which is unusual for a manager to go off the field of play. Yeah. I think because we saw him on TV come back out again.
Yeah, he was really worried.
He was clearly running in, having a check on, you know, what is wrong. And I've no news as of this video, but it doesn't look good for Kane. So I wish him a speedy recovery.
Yeah, obviously, I think the minimum it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. Minimum. That's if it's minor. Yeah. Anything major, you're looking at 3 months. So you know, it's obviously bad news for Spurs. It's bad news for England potentially. And I agree. You know, you don't want your opponents to be missing their best players.
No.
You want it to be the best against the best. Yeah. And I'll endorse your comments. We wish him a speedy recovery.
So moving into the second half, not much happened.
Well, I was telling in the first 5 minutes of the second half, I said to the guy next to me, I said the game is too open. City have opened the game up a bit, and we had a few moments, half chances, but that also allowed Spurs to hit us on the counter, and I didn't like that. If we're coming there for a draw, which is what Pep sets up to do, then carry on. You know, you've opened yourself up, and Spurs started to. And I was at that point, I was wanting to get out with a 0-0.
You just paused there for a minute, mate. So I don't know whether are you back again.
I'm back.
Back. Yeah, it was, and that was the way it worked out. I mean, if we look at the match stats, 41% possession for Tottenham, 59% for City. Shots 13 for Tottenham, only 10 for City. Shots on target 4 for Spurs, only 2 for City.
Yeah.
Corners 3 each, fouls 8 for Spurs, 11 for us. I mean, there's not many games this season where we have had more possession and had less shots on, you know, and certainly we had 2 all night, and neither of them were, if that's including the penalty, the other one was non-existent. It was just poor in the final third. There was creativity whatsoever. But I want to move on. I want to move on because 78 minutes in, Son comes on, and who I think is a wonderful player. I really do like him. And I said in the preview match that we did with the opposition fan channel that I really like Son. I think he's a lovely player. They get that cross in. Where Delph was, no idea. What they were doing, claiming for offside and stopping. Why?
Well, they're claiming the Delph claimed that the ball went out.
Well, why Delph didn't tackle? Why Gundogan didn't throw his body in front of the goal, in front of the ball? And then what is Edison doing? So, over to you for the goal.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I couldn't believe that they scored. I couldn't believe that they got the ball. Now, Delph claiming that it went out, it didn't go out. And even if you think it went out, you don't stop and put your hand up asking for the goal kick. You've got to, I accept sometimes the linesman will give it just because you put your hand up, but most of the time you won't. You've got to play to the whistle. You've got to keep going. He sold himself short, and then he did this. How can I best explain it? Sometimes you're in a traffic lights, you're behind somebody, and they forget to move. You do your horn because the lights have changed green, and you do your horn, and they speed away, trying to get away from their mistake, and they make that's a bit dangerous. It was what Delph did. He made the mistake, and he jumped in, and he let himself get wrong-footed. Gundogan, was probably protecting his assets. He should have dived in and tried to block it. And Ederson, who knows if it was that injury, he could have just put his foot there and stopped the ball. So it's in one of those, in that no man's land where the goal is not, it's really close to him, but he's not sure. And Hart had this problem on his left-hand side, whether you put your foot out or whether you use your hand. And he was far too late. 3 errors. Any one of those players had got it right, that would have been a goal, and it would have been job done. Would have got away with the 0-0.
But how many times have we said it this season on the match reviews where we have been caught out on the left-hand side of the post with balls? How many times have we said with Delph on 2 or 3 occasions, Zinchenko on a couple of occasions? That ball at the back, for some reason, our left-backs play so far away from the danger person, whoever it is, winger, forward, whatever. That ball he should never have been allowed to turn back inside. Yeah. It should have been cleared out. The ball should have been gone into the stands for a corner.
If I remember correctly, before the game, I spoke to a Spurs fan and I put a video out, Peter, and I'm sure he said they will work on our wings because they thought Walker was weak and whoever was left back would be weak. And so it turned out. And
about 5 or 6 times this season we've been caught out of that back left-hand side.
Well, I've got to say, well, normally it's a longer cross or a dink cross, but I've got to say, I watched Delph, and I felt on 3 or 4 occasions he failed to control the ball cleanly. And in this Pep team, you can't do that because we're playing to small margins with our play around the back.
Yeah.
And you cannot afford not to control it properly. Whatever the reason is, I don't know. I was surprised he was playing. I thought his days were numbered after being sent off recklessly. And he's made yet another mistake. And whilst Zinchenko...
You just paused again there, mate.
Sorry. And whilst Zinchenko also makes mistakes, and I'm sure he's caught out at least once every single game, he offers us so much more going forwards. And Delph doesn't. So if Delph is purely a defensive left back, and he's got to do his job and he's failing. And if, as I said, if Zinchenko makes a mistake as a defender, he can offer us something going forwards. And we never saw that short passing between Sterling out on the left, David Silva, and the left back, in this case, Delph. We never saw that.
I mean, I'll give Delph I'll try and back him up to a certain degree because I just don't think he should have been playing last night because he's hardly played at all.
I agree. I totally agree.
We saw how good he was last season. He's hardly been in the team this season because of injuries. And then for a quarter-final of the Champions League, Pep throws him in at left back, and it's like, okay, all right, if Danilo, for whatever reason, is not fit and he's dropped, put Company in and put Laporte at left back.
That's what I said.
I just don't understand why you would throw Delph in such a big game. I thought it was wrong. And that's just. I mean, I know nothing compared to Pep, but that was just my opinion. I thought it was a silly mistake, a really silly mistake.
Obviously, Pep's got his reasons. And maybe he thought there would be a threat against. He wanted Laporte in the centre. To support with Harry Kane.
Maybe.
Physicality or whatever the reasons were. Pep's made his choice, and where we as fans have got to accept it. And Pep as a manager, if it had paid off, we'd be hailing him. If Aguero had scored that goal and we'd won 1-0, we'd be hailing a masterclass from Pep. I mean, that's how small the margins are.
Of course. But the fact is we didn't. And we missed the penalty, and that's how small the margins are. So it's a flip side. We're only critiquing what we saw. And to be fair, we didn't play well. I thought offensively, I thought we were pretty poor. It was like watching Brighton against us on Saturday at Wembley. It was like nothing. There was just nothing.
Well, the thing, I think obviously it didn't help that Mendy's injured, that Zinchenko's injured, that Bernardo Silva was injured. And I think not having Bernardo Silva was key for this game. If Bernardo Silva was fit,
I agree.
I think he'd have played instead of Mahrez, and it would have made a huge difference. Still would have had that problem in the field, but it would have made a huge difference.
Well, on that point, you mentioned that name.
Bernardo Silva?
No, sadly not. I did the vlog last night, which you saw and were part of and moderated it, but I have got to the end of my tether with Riyad Mahrez. I've tried to defend him all season. I've tried to. I know people will say you did the Mahrez watch and things like that. That was all a bit of tongue-in-cheek against Algerian fans, but I've tried to be as objective as I can be with Mahrez and tried to make excuses for him and why. And last night, it wasn't so much the fact that he didn't do a great deal. What concerned me more than anything was the fact that there were so many 50-50 challenges, 60-40 in his favour, and headers that he never once tried a jot to tackle, jump for a header, nothing. And that is not acceptable.
Let me be objective, because he's playing on the right. Second half, I was in the fourth row. So I was right at the front. So you can see a lot of what's happening. And I was right at the front on our right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I could see a lot of what Mahrez was doing. And I'm not saying this just to have a pop at him. Other players made mistakes. I've already said Del miscontrolled 3 or 4 times. And he was poor on the goal. If a player makes a mistake, I have no issue criticising or stating the fact. So I had Walker. I saw a lot of Walker and a lot of Mahrez. I mean, and the defensive thing was shown when Walker at one point went bombing forward. He took the ball, he leathered it forward, he was legging it and besting down the line, and Mahrez didn't go to support. My feeling was he was told to, if Walker goes, on his lonesome, you stay back, your cover. But when Mahrez had the ball, there were some poor passes to Gabby Jesus. I remember one pass too early, when Gabby hadn't got the right side of the defender, so the defender had the chance to actually block Gabby. There was crosses that were weak into the man, and he was crossing.
I reckon 8 out of 10 passes were straight to the first defender.
And he was passing backwards. He didn't take any major risks taking his man on. He was weak. There was one, I think Danny Rose might have fouled him, but Mahrez was looking for the foul.
When he fell over.
Yeah, it might have been a foul.
Like a sack of spuds, and with the replay showed, he put a tiny hand on his back and he went diving over. And the ref,
looking for it.
The ref was one. That's a European ref. Yeah. Who normally they give everything. Just went like that to him and sort of.
There was one challenge. One challenge that sticks in my mind, and I had to say something to the fella next to me. Now, I don't go overboard with criticising players, especially during the game. I might get frustrated and there might be some tension, but I don't really get onto criticising players. But the ball was bouncing, and Mahrez was chasing it, and I can't remember who the Spurs player was coming in, and Mahrez. You could see, I don't believe you need to have played football to a high level to see when someone is just sticking their leg in a tackle. The ball was bouncing, and I actually said to the fella next to me, if he'd put his body there, the ball was whatever, up here, waist height or whatever, or a bit lower. I said he could have put his body between the ball and the player, and the player would have kicked Mahrez. He'd have taken one for the team. He'd have got a free kick, or the guy would have pulled out and Mahrez would have got the ball. But what Mahrez did, he put his foot up instead, and he didn't get the ball. And that, to me, that was... I'm careful with my words. That was a chicken's tackle. It was a chicken's tackle. You could have got the ball, or you could have put your body... It's not really on the line. You know, the guy wasn't coming like a train, but you were the closest one. You could have protected that ball with your body, and you chose not to. You put a chicken's tackle in. The guy got the ball, and Spurs went off with the ball. Sorry, mate. You know, you've got to give everything. You struggled to get game time this season, especially the second half of the season. I know every week I was saying Mahrez is in the team again. He's not played a league game for about 2.5 months or something like that. He played a couple of cup games against Burton and Rotherham or whoever, and scored some goals here and there. But let's be honest, Burton and Rotherham, you know, what with all due respect, and so you struggle to get game time. You've got to do something more than what you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to get a game. When Bernardo Silva comes back, he'll be playing.
Yeah.
And also, and I didn't really think of it like this, it's a massive indictment on Leroy Sané that Riyad Mahrez is getting game time in front of Sané. And
so you've got to ask the question, why?
Sané, yeah.
What is going on? Is it attitude, or is it whatever it is? I mean,
there is.
You've got somebody there who Pepper said he can be anything he wants to be in world football. Yeah. He can be the best in world football, and you're picking Mahrez over him. That says something isn't quite right. And
I think there's an issue with attitude. Maybe there's an issue with attitude. There's an issue with application and consistency. You know, he loses the ball and it's woe betide me rather than, you know, chasing back.
But Mahrez did that last night. Mahrez just showed Mahrez whatsoever.
I think Pep trusts Mahrez to hold his position more. But this is what I feel. He trusts him to hold his position more, to track back more, and I think overall he probably does. But Sané,
I've seen Sané running 50. I've seen the ball and he's lost it. But that's I don't think I've seen Mahrez do that.
I've seen Sané do that. It's because he's angry. Maybe the ref didn't give a free kick and he's mad. And how can you get that young kid? He's only 22 years old or 23 years old to channel that and do it every time. Yeah. And the thing is, I looked at that team and I said, look, where could we have made a change? What could we have done with that starting lineup? That or at half-time or whatever, that could have made a difference. And okay, Bernardo wasn't there, but I think either Leroy Sané playing.
Well, that's the next question, which we're going to move on to, because we're going to wrap this up very short. Right. So, 88 minutes. 88 minute after Kevin De Bruyne and Leroy Sané have been warming up for 35 minutes before half time and after half time. They were solidly warming up. 88 minutes. We wait until we make a substitution. Just very briefly, Ray, what were your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the laugh gives it away. It was a surprising pair of substitutions. Was Pep looking to nick a goal in the 2 minutes or 90 seconds that remained in a few minutes of extra time, injury time? Was he looking? We ended
up getting 6 minutes of extra time.
And I mean, honestly, I thought if you want to do that, get one of them on. Sorry, that's my alarm. Get one of them on 15 minutes to go. Maybe not both, or once we were losing.
As soon as Kane comes off.
Yeah,
I thought 55 minutes or to the 60th minute. Get them on. Let's go for it.
Well, I felt at least get one of them on. Maybe Pep's worried about getting both of them on because that's his whole strategy tossed out the window. His defensive mindset has gone. But at least get one of them on.
Why bother bring any of them on at 88 minutes? What is the point?
What's the point? But I maybe that he felt Spurs were tired. They'd been running around. We'd had a lot of the ball. Who knows? I mean, only Pep can tell you the reason behind that. But I think one of them should have come on at least 10 minutes earlier. You know,
Oh, at least.
Bring the second one on with 2 or 3 minutes to go, fine. But bring one of them on earlier to give it a chance. And you could see, as soon as KDB came on,
we looked dangerous straight away.
Dangerous. And the thing with Leroy Sané is, I'll be quite honest, he's probably, for me now, the most exciting player City have. Most exciting. Even though Raheem Sterling's stats are better, probably Raheem Sterling is a better overall player. He scores a lot of goals because he gets into the right positions. Tap-ins, whatever you want to call it. But you got
to changing a game.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. But Leroy Sané, to me, is the most exciting and dangerous player City have. And he can create havoc, and it's killing me, man. It is killing me that he's not playing.
But at the end of the day, there's a reason why, and it's not for us to question it. Pep knows what he's doing, and maybe it's disappointing, very disappointing, especially last night, waiting so long to make 2 subs. But anyway, we end up 1-0 going into the next game against Palace. Then we've got them again, and then again back at the Etihad.
I'll say this. I said it earlier with some of the fans I spoke to. 3 games, and we said with the City fans as well, it's hard to win 3 games. It's hard to win 3 games in a short space of time against the same opposition. And
I didn't think we'd win all 3, but I really expected us to at least get a draw last night.
But out of the 3, if you had to pick one to lose, there you go. So
especially 1-0, of course.
Let's.
My worry was it could have been 2-0. It could have been, and you're going, Jesus Christ, that's going to be.
Let's look at the silver lining, because you're right. If it had been 2-0, which it could have been, get a few half chances. We could be not out of this tie, but we could have been on the back foot again. And it's disappointing that each of the last 3 seasons. And we got battered at Monaco when we really should have got through that game. We got battered at Liverpool when we really shouldn't have got battered.
Well, people today talking about Pep's record in quarterfinals.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Not 1 in 8 and things like that. And so, I mean, my final couple of questions to you are: first one, taking Spurs back to the Etihad for the second leg. Will we win it? Yes or no? That's it. That's all I want to know.
Yes.
Okay. So you outside the stadium last night at Spurs. Interviewed some of the City fans immediately after the game. What we're going to do now, going to show you just very short video of some of the fans outside. And there's a big group of lads, and this is what they had to say.
Guys, I'm in with a load of City Silver, we're all going to Madrid. What do you reckon then?
It's one leg. It's
only the first leg.
Loads to play for.
Yeah.
We'll do them at our place, 2 or 3-0, easy. They were rubbish tonight. It was a 0-0 game.
That game was nothing in it whatsoever.
It was a 0-0 game.
We had Mahrez who did absolutely nothing. He should have earned his stripes tonight. He should have earned his stripes tonight.
We didn't even pick our strongest team.
Guardiola subbed him too late. Sané come on too late. That game was there for the taking and we didn't do it. That was it.
It was a 0-0 game.
We'll go to our place, we'll do it.
Comfortable home win. Come on, City. Semi-finals, come on.
Right, I think, going off what we saw tonight, thought we were the better side. I think second leg at our place, I think we'll have enough to do.
Yeah, we should do.
Yeah.
Good luck, mate. Safe trip home.
No worries, right. Thank you very much, man.
So they clearly think that we're going to take Spurs back to the Etihad and we're going to win. So
those lads were obviously very well lubricated. They were still in good voice. I mean, they were not downhearted and
very positive.
So they were, look, they were there for a good time. I think they enjoyed the time overall at the stadium because the setting was magnificent. So I think they're positive. And look, we've failed to win only 1 game at home this season. 2. 1 in the Champions League and 1 against Crystal Palace. So I think we're obviously very strong at home, and the lads and myself, we feel that's going to carry us to victory in the home leg.
Well, it leads me back to my last point, and this is, we've got 1 minute left because there's another video I want to show.
Yeah.
And that is obviously today there's been, or last night in particular, not so much today, but last night, as we get on Twitter, we get sometimes a little bit of a meltdown. And there were some absolutely crazy comments by alleged City fans going Pep out and Pep this and Pep, and it's like, yeah, we can critique Pep's what we think would have played somebody else, but to then
abuse him.
Get rid of David Silva, get rid of Pep, and I mean, it's garbage. Finally, 30 seconds. What are your thoughts on some of those so-called City fans?
Well, I saw some today. There was a fella that I'd blocked a while ago. I know you blocked him. I know a few other people had blocked him. And was it last week he was having a dig at David Silva, which caused more people to block him. And last night he called Pep a fraud. Was it a ball fraud or whatever? And even more people blocked him. And the thing is, we've got some new fans, or fans who feel that they're entitled to see us win and play beautiful football every game. Pep said you can't do that. We've got so many games. You cannot do that. We've played 54 games this season. 54. And we've lost 6. That's 1 in 9. That's a blooming good record. So these entitled fans who walk around with, this particular fan, 9,000 followers on Twitter, who must be the same kind of sheep or whatever as he is, and they lap it up. And so you get this toxic thing, and people saying, "Oh, why should City fans fight and argue with City fans?" Is that a City fan who's calling? People questioned it. How can you call what he said about David Silva? You're allowed an opinion. Fine, everybody is. Who are we to say that people can't have an opinion? It's ridiculous to even suggest that. Please don't go insulting and abusing our players and manager. Show a little respect. This is David Silva. Go to him first. He had a great first few months of the season when we needed him, when Kev was injured. Kev was injured. We needed David Silva. He came up with the goods. He's probably, in my opinion, played a little bit too much. I think Kev was expecting him to play a few games.
Everyone would agree that he's had to carry the camp.
But look at last night's team. Okay, he was the legs of the midfield. You got Fernandinho, Gundogan, and David Silva, and you could see David Silva running around, trying to cut people down. He's 33 years old. He should have had someone like Bernardo or Kevin doing a lot of that running.
Phil Foden or somebody with legs and energy.
So to criticise him, ridiculous.
Yeah.
The way some people criticise Delph, he makes mistakes, but the language that some people used is not called for, and that's what I object to. It's not your opinion that Delph has had a poor game. He had a poor game. We all saw that. He made a big mistake.
Well, I mean,
we all saw that.
I said Mahrez had a shit game last night.
Yeah,
that's an opinion. But I said I'd be happy if he didn't play a game for City this season because I don't think he's worthy of a place right now.
You can argue that's
a critique. That's
your opinion.
That's a subjective opinion. I'm not going to start saying he's an Algerian this and he needs some of the comments on Twitter were absolutely appalling, and some of the stuff with the live vlog I did last night, some of the racist stuff about calling Raheem Sterling a monkey and all. It's just completely way over the top and completely unacceptable. It's one thing having a critique and objectively critiquing a performance. It's another when you start using racist comments and you start making absolutely pathetic comments. But this lady, Pat, you interviewed outside the stadium afterwards, and I think she sums up everything in this particular video. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you this now.
Hi guys, I'm here with Pat. We're just outside Spurs' new stadium. We've lost 1-0 in the Champions League. How do you feel about that, Pat?
At the end of the day, we've got to play these guys 3 times. And a lot of averages says we're not going to win every one. So if this is our loss tonight, we're still in the Champions League, we're still in for the league, we're still in for the quadruple. We're not cocky about it, but I just believe and we're confident and we're going to do it.
You know, with that lineup, what do you think Pep was trying to do with that lineup?
I think really he should have played De Bruyne and Leroy, but at the end of the day, in Pep we trust and we believe, and they're all experts, aren't they? But Pep's a manager, and whatever he puts forward, that's it. We have to deal with it.
Exactly, they're all experts on social media.
Exactly, and you know they can ridicule us about empty seats, whatever we want to do, the money we've got. But at the end of the day, we're in these competitions, and we're in it for a reason because we're good.
Exactly. I mean, on one hand, like you say, we're not out of anything.
No.
Losing tonight doesn't knock us out of anything.
Absolutely not.
Let's be honest, we've won 14 games on the bounce. It's unlikely we were going to win another 12. And so to come a cropper here rather than in the league, it's probably better for us.
Exactly. That's what I think. It's only half time here. And we've still got it. We're still in it all. So let's just do it.
What do you think about? I might ask you about the stadium. What do you think about the stadium?
Yeah, it's a great stadium.
Let's be honest, when they scored.
Yeah,
we looked there. They were, they were throwing themselves. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was. But,
I mean, do you wish we do that at City? If
absolutely. I wish we had more atmosphere at City, but you know, we haven't, and whatever. But us that have followed him through everything, we know what it's about. And as you say, my 30 years as a blue, I'll take that, mate. All right then.
All right, Pat, have a good night.
All right,
good night.
So there you go. What are your thoughts on Pat? Pat sort of summed it up there with everything. So that was a great interview with Pat outside the Spurs stadium last night, Ray. But anyway, listen, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. We're going to wrap this up now. Don't forget, go out and check out some of the other stuff. Ray, you've got something to say?
Last thing I'll say about Pep. Okay, he's done really well for us last season.
Oh, brilliant.
I think trust in Pep. Okay. And this is paraphrasing what one of my mates on Twitter said. Trust in Pep. But it's like your partner, your wife or your husband. You can love them, but sometimes they can annoy you too.
Yeah.
That's acceptable.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I mean, we're City fans. You know, one of the biggest things that I cannot stand about social media and things is that if you can't be honest and critique in an objective manner, you get people sometimes that will go, you're saying this, you're saying that. I cannot stand happy clappers. I can't stand, oh, well, everything's great. And you just ignore. There is a reason that you go, last night wasn't great. He wasn't played well. And when they play well, you say, he was brilliant. And he was. There's nothing wrong with critiquing a performance whatsoever. I am not certainly a happy clapper that goes, it doesn't matter. We won last season. Not at all. We critique them honestly, and it is subjective. It's an opinion-based critique. People disagree. People disagree. That's perfectly fine. Absolutely. We would never cross the boundaries where we would be horrendously racist and whatever else about a player. But there's nothing wrong with critiquing when things don't go well, because it's, we critique when things are doing fantastically well and everyone's happy with that. But when things don't go well, you have to expect the same critique.
Yeah. Well, there's two points. And I agree with what you said. If something's wrong, either with the club or a player or whatever, I think we're entitled to say so.
Absolutely.
Especially what you can even say it's our duty to say so. It's not something people say, oh no, you shouldn't say that because it's negative about the club.
Did it in the 70s, did it in the 80s, did it in the 90s, did it in the 2000s, and we're doing it this decade. It's never changed, and people my father did it in the 60s and 50s.
Yeah.
So
I'll ask you a question. Did people criticise Peter Swales? Did the fan base criticise him?
I would say 90% absolutely hated him.
Yeah. Okay. So now what's changed?
David White, when I interviewed him today, said he was absolutely brilliant for the club.
Yeah.
And that's a player.
There you go. So there's nothing wrong with objectively criticising players or the club. It's not there to be, all sunshine and rainbows and whatever. But what you can't do, and this is what I don't like social media for, people attack you if you criticise players or the club in an objective way. And others, they go too far.
Yeah.
They go over the line into abuse, and they're not objective. It's very, very poor. That's someone offering me a ticket for a game, but and they go too far, and that's what I don't like. If you stray into abuse, pretty quickly you're blocked. You know, I don't want that. You know, social media should be generally overall semi-informative and
stalled there a minute.
Okay. Well, social media should be a place where you can have a bit of fun and a bit of discussion and debate with people who you'd not normally get a chance to have that discussion and debate with, and share opinions and differing opinions. And you want to go away from that debate either with a changed view or the same view or whatever. But you don't want to go away and think that guy's an idiot, or that guy's gone too far. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, as we've always said, look, on our channel, we invite anybody to come and have a chat, keep it clean, keep it overall sensible, and we'll have fun. We'll have fun together.
Well, listen, we've gone way beyond what we thought we would do, like we always do. And
but there's so much to talk about with City.
I know. Last night's live vlog was just like absolutely.
Mate, I've got to say, you actually had hundreds of people, on the live vlog commenting away, and you know it was amazing. You could feel that energy. Yeah. And the guys were, and I listened to it on the way up, driving up today, and you were crying at the end.
Yeah, I was laughing. I was in so much tears with laughter because some of the comments, some of the City fans were just like making me go into tears.
It's one of the reasons we set up this channel for. It's to get the opinions and the interactions with City fans, whether they go to games, whether they live in America or in Africa or wherever they are. It's to get everybody into that melting pot and to discuss the club that they love. That's Man City.
Well, it was brilliant last night. I absolutely loved it. It was late. It was a long one. It was nearly 2 hours long. It was absolutely crazy. And at some point, like I said, there was nearly 290 people commenting, 3,500 people online, whatever, viewing what it was. And it was just a big thank you. Thank you to everybody last night. It was really, really... I went from being angry and upset about the result and the performance and the team selection to I was in tears by the end by City fans making some absolutely amazing comments.
Well,
so, it was very funny.
You guys will be pleased to know I've had 3 meals today already.
There you go.
Back to normal.
He's got 2 to go. But anyway, guys, this is Andy from Man City Fan TV. I'm here with Ray. Don't forget, like we say all the time, if you are not a subscriber, you've got to click that subscribe button, click the bell icon, the notification below. That way, like last night, like all the live vlogs, I'll be doing a live vlog later. Don't know what time because it depends on when this goes out, but I'll be doing a very short one, and it will be a very short one just to catch up with people. I know, but I've got to do it because my wife last night was like, "Oh my God, what time are you coming to bed doing these live vlogs?" But I'll do a live vlog later. But don't forget. We said it's not just City fans. Last night we had Tottenham fans, United fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans. I mean, we had loads of Spurs fans. Were brilliant last night on the live vlog. They were really, really good. Very, objective and sort of asking us questions of what do we think about the second leg and everything else. So, it's not just, even though we say it's Man City Fan TV for the fans, for all fans. If you want to come on. Have a chat with us, as long as you do not steer down that racist route or be very abusive, because we will ban you and block you and we will report you to the police, like some of the disgusting comments that came on our channel last night. We won't stand for it. So anyway, Sandy from Man City Fan TV. Ray, thank you very much, mate. I know you're busy and preparing to go down to Exeter tomorrow, so you're going to be away for a few days. I'll pick up the slack. I'll be doing some videos. I've just got through, just after mention this. Tobias has sent me through some wonderful videos, and he's going to do this review on the best young German players out there that he thinks potentially, if we're going to go in for a German player, these are the players that we should be looking at. And I've just watched the videos back, and there's some players on there. I must admit, I've got no idea who they are, so I'm going to have to check them out.
Rabbi Matondo, mate. Let's get Rabbi Matondo.
Yeah. That I'll edit. It'll take me a while. I might do that tonight or first thing in the morning, but they're going to be out on the channel. And then don't forget, we're going to do a Puma concept kit video. Check that out because there's some really, really good kits out there. But anyway, thank you very much, Ray. Guys, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for all your comments. Comment below the video as well if there's something you want us to talk about. Remember, Ray, we did have that question last night in the live vlog about who are our favourite players from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s and this decade. We'll get together at some point when Ray's back from Exeter and we'll sit down, we'll have a think about it and we'll do a video for that as well. So anyway, Annie from Man City Fan TV. See you, Ray.
See you, mate.
Take care, mate.
All right, take it easy. See you later.